everybody, welcome back to the channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and tonight's video is my whole thoughts and general thoughts on the situation with Josh Schuster. As we know today, Manly have officially let him know that he is free to look elsewhere. Can find a new club as soon as possible, and yeah, Manly are happy to let him go. So yeah, I guess as a big Schuster fan myself, which I've always have been from the very start, it's quite sad to see this ending come about, because I think I had a feeling that this would happen one day. I didn't want it to happen too soon, but I guess now it's happening, and yeah, he's about to be no longer a Seagull anymore, Schuster. So he will, yeah, most likely be at a new club. Don't know what club he'll be at, but he'll definitely be at a new club very soon. I know the Dragons have already pulled out of the race to sign him, so yeah, Dragons won't sign him. But there's definitely a few clubs out there that could use Schuster's services. And let's be honest, Schuster has all the talent in the world and definitely can be a fine player as he matures and gets older. But I guess right now he needs to get his head together, I guess you can say. But I think at the same time, it's been a bit of unfair treatment, I think, as well. But I don't know. It's look, obviously I'm not there, so it's a bit tough to explain. But I do think, though, it's a real mess and a very unfortunate mess of both Manly and Schuster to be in. But before I get into the full video, as always, if you are a new viewer to the channel, like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, my goal is to get to 4,150 subscribers, but hopefully at the end of April. So about 30 odd subs away from that goal now. So do subscribe if you haven't already. But let's get into the main video now, my thoughts on the whole Schuster situation. Yeah, so why did it go all so south and so wrong for Manly and Schuster in the first place? Well, I'm sure we all remember when he burst onto the scene in 2021, but more so 2020, because that was his actual NRL debut season. 2020, but played one game only before he got injured. Yeah, that game was in round 20, I think, against the West Tigers when it was called Brookvale. Sorry, back when it was called Lotto Land, which was just a fucking shit name. But yeah, it was Manly and Tigers at Brookie on a Saturday night, I think it was, or Saturday evening game going into night. And yeah, he played 5/8 and it was a great performance, actually. He looked really good in that game. Basically backed up all the hype he was like in the juniors into that first grade game. And many thought that Josh Schuster would go and become a real star at Manly, would continue that sort of hype and that sort of skill set he had in the juniors into first grade. And yeah, I mean, Benji Marshall, the current Tigers coach right now, when he was playing those years ago and versed actually Schuster too, Benji said that it's the best debut he's ever seen. So yeah, I mean, it says a lot really if Benji's saying that. So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, Schuster's gotten some great credit, but more so, I guess, just the most disappointing part of it all is he's gotten a lot of talk downs. And I think some of it's warranted, but some of it's not, in my opinion. But yeah, look, I think, and you know, Bob Fulton was obviously that guy who signed Josh Schuster from Western Sydney to come to Manly in the very first place as a 14-year-old, and he came through the Manly pathways, Josh. So again, it's a bit sad to lose someone that's been, you know, spent so much time in that Manly pathway, and to now probably lose him, yeah, it's a bit tough and yeah, disappointing, because I mean, Schuster's not the only guy we've lost from the pathways system as of recent. You know, Viliami Fafita, he came from the Manly pathway system. Tuatavake from the Dragons, the Finery Boys, Josh Folletti, who went to the Tigers a couple of years ago. So yeah, look, we've lost a couple of juniors in our pathway systems and whatever, but I guess you can't keep them all, right? But I guess with Schuster, it's disappointing because I see Schuster having the most potential out of all those guys I've just mentioned. But yeah, I guess you know, what can you do? But yeah, when Benji Marshall is saying that this was the best debutant I've ever seen play, and when you have Bob Fulton watching you as a kid and thinking that you're the next guy that will take a Manly to the promised lands or whatever, yeah, wow, yeah, you wonder how the hype of that from back those years ago have now just transpired into actual hate and just, yeah, I guess all bad news on Schuster. It's funny how this game can change so quickly. But yeah, look, I guess as well, just injuries haven't helped Schuster as well. I think having a lot of calf injuries, which was a big thing for Schuster ever since he came into the NRL. And I believe that injury he got in his debut game against the Tigers in the second half was also a calf injury or some sort of foot injury. So again, he's just I don't know. He hasn't recovered properly from his injuries. It feels like I don't know what the conditioning of is like with him, but I assume it's like every other player. Recover well and do this or that to get the full recovery. But it seems like his injuries are a reoccurring issue, and as a result, because he hasn't been playing much, yeah, he's just been unfit. Unfortunately, hasn't been in the shape he should be for NRL. And look, I'd prefer not to talk about weight so much because I think weight's a very touchy subject to talk about, and I do think it's a bit unfair to sort of say, "Oh, Schuster's fat" and all this sort of stuff because it's not right, it's not nice, and yeah, it kind of breaks my heart when people do call him that because I don't know, it's not good for your confidence if you hear about that sort of stuff. But look, anyway, look, you get what I mean. Like people just sort of basing Schuster off his weight and all that sort of stuff, but there's plenty of unfit players out there, playing reserve grade, not just Schuster, but I guess, yeah, Josh has a responsibility to be fit and needs to perform at a standard where he is in first grade, but he's not doing it at the moment. So, yeah, that's why he's not playing in NRL. Um, but yeah, it's a very disappointing ending, I guess. Like, he was so rated highly as a junior, and him and Ben Trbojevic had such a great combination in the Harold Matts and SG Ball teams, but yeah, I guess that's not going to happen anymore. But yeah, I guess it just comes as a bit of a what if for Manly. Like, what if Schuster actually had the hearts to play and had the heart of like a I don't know, let's say he had the heart of Brett Stewart. Brett Stewart, who was very dedicated and committed to Manly, or the heart of Jake Trbojevic, something like that. Let's say Schuster had Jake Trbojevic's heart and also had the fitness of Cherry Evans. Imagine if those two attributes were added to Schuster. I mean, yeah, wow, what a player he'll be. And that could still happen, but I guess Manly's not the right club for him. Simple as that. But yeah, it's a shame. Now, was it the right or wrong call to release Schuster? Now, bear in mind, it's not an official release yet. Like, the club have not released a statement saying, "Oh, just Josh Schuster's been released" and all that sort of stuff. Not yet, anyway. But I'll say it's the right call. I think for Schuster's sake, it's the right call. I just think for Josh, yeah. Look, I think after year after year after year, there's been heaps of criticism of Schuster at Manly. Unfortunately, there's not a time now where Schuster does not get teased or bashed in the media. And yeah, like I guess Manly keep getting put on a bad light too because everyone thinks that Manly paid 800k for Josh Schuster to play reserve grade and not be fit. But funnily enough, I don't think Schuster's actually receiving 800k. But 800k is the limit that Josh Schuster can receive. But he's on a bonus contract, which means that he's going to play this amount of games to reach 800k. He's going to play that amount of first grade games to reach 800k. He's going to try and stay fit at training. He's try to stay, I guess, focused on what he has to work on and stuff. So I think it's all that little stuff that has to be ticked off for Schuster to receive the 800k. But in hindsight, and when we did re-signing until 2027 last year, now, I'll be honest, I had no issue with re-signing Schuster until 2027. I was over the moon, as a matter of fact, I was. Yeah, and I guess everyone was going on about the money that we signed him on, but I think the money is just not true. We're not paying him that money. We're paying half of that 800k. So, yeah, I think people are getting it wrong. But yeah, look, I think I wasn't like against the fact we signed Schuster until 2027 because I feel like on potential and how young he was, yeah, we keep him on long term. But in hindsight, it turned out to be a bad move. Since he re-signed, he's been dropped to reserve grade a couple of times, missed the last 2 games of 2023 and played for Blacktown. And so far this year, from round 1 to round 5, he's been playing Blacktown, and including this week in round 6, he's playing against the Warriors in Auckland for Blacktown too. So doesn't look like he's going to play first grade for Manly anytime soon. So yeah. Yeah, it's a sad ending, man. It's a sad ending. So I do think it's the right call, not only just for Manly, but for Josh Schuster's mental health. I do think, yeah, Schuster's mental health needs to come first here, and I think a change of scenery will do Schuster good. So yeah, I think it's a smart move by both parties. I suppose the one thing that is in Josh Schuster's favour is that he has plenty of time. And when I say plenty of time for Schuster, I mean it as in like he's very young still. So I think people forget he's still very young. I know he's not like a kid anymore because he's 22, turning 23 in May. But, he's very young. I guess players at that sort of age are still learning the game, I guess a little bit, and learning about themselves too. you don't really hit your prime until like 26, 25. So Schuster's a fair few years off that. But yeah, I do think though the real good thing for Schuster is that there's time. You know, there's time for Schuster to turn it all around. You know, you look at guys like Bryce Cartwright, who's a very similar player to Josh Schuster when he was a rookie at Penrith. Probably did a few mistakes and made a lot of errors when he was younger because he liked to overplay his hands and probably tried to do too much. And now at Parramatta, you know, he seems to be playing a lot more smarter, playing to his strengths, not overdoing stuff. And yeah, he's become a really successful back rower. And see, the funny thing about Bryce Cartwright was the fact he's a big body, and he tried being a 5'8" at first with Penrith, and he thought that he'd be a 5'8" for longer term for Penrith, but Panthers said no, and Panthers were adamant he's a back rower. So, a very similar case to Josh Schuster, because, you know, when Kieran Foran left Manly at the end of 2022, Josh Schuster was embarked as the next 5'8" for Manly, and that's exactly what Anthony Seibold did, put Schuster to 5'8" and see what he can do there. But unfortunately, injuries and other stuff that went on behind the scenes, it just caused Schuster to not find that same form or the form that he should be playing at, and the standard for playing 5'8" from first grade. So. That's unfortunate what's happened there. But look, like I said before, time's on Schuster's side. There's plenty of time. I do think a new club would be good for him. And let's hope he ends like Bryce Cartwright right now. It doesn't end up like Tony Williams or Felipe Mateo. And I'm pretty worried actually, because Felipe Mateo is very similar to Josh Schuster. Very, very similar. Similar build, similar ball skills. So far, similar careers. So I'm hoping everything works out well for Schuster. But yeah, that brings an end to my video and my thoughts on the whole Josh Schuster and Manly situation. It's a real shame because I thought Josh Schuster would be a long-term Manly player and a great servant for us, and I guess that isn't going to happen now. That'll happen elsewhere, but hopefully Josh finds a club as soon as possible and finds a club that can look after him and make him fulfill his potential. Because obviously at Manly that can't happen, so yeah, hopefully a club takes him on and hopefully has a really good system around him. But that's my honest take on Josh Schuster and Manly. But thank you for watching. Make sure to again like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you are a new viewer to this channel, as well as commenting your thoughts on Josh Schuster as well. But thank you for watching and have a good night.